Now, let's be honest with ourselves. The liberals, leftist, woke Democratic Party definitely has seen better days.
Stand. Pardons. And now, the final ground goes to this case. Take a bite.
Love it. It's funny because it's reportedly true. Oh, man. All of this as Joe Rogan. I don't know. You go to the liberal cities and the women literally look like that. All right, change your dating location on any of the apps to Portland or Bushwick. Oh, anyway, Joe Rogan has come out and now is warning about the dangers from the left and categorizes the problem, which, by the way, he saw very early on. Like, he talks about, oh, I'm shocked. He early on, as soon as it happened, he was talking about, yeah, people are going to celebrate this. And he's asking the question, what in the world's happening to the left? Why are they celebrating, cheering for bloodshed, for having
our people,
a father lose his life in the most heinous, vicious way? As he points to potentially foreign elements being involved here, as now the FBI specifically is looking into evidence of international financing of a lot of these leftist radicalized groups, as we have some very interesting comments from Ted Cruz that some people are criticizing, some people are praising. What in the world's going on here? As I would say, Joe Rogan's comments are probably more important than ever to listen to right now in hindsight of everything that is going on. We're going to play a lot of important clips here, and if you agree, subscribe, click the notification button. We greatly appreciate all the time that you guys, of course, spend with us. Now, Joe Rogan hasn't been the biggest Trump supporter, right? Let's just be honest. When we're talking about how he has been kind of directing some of his opinions and criticisms against this Trump administration, and it looks like he's trying to make it back into this like middle. It looks like he's trying to make it back into this type of position where he was before, where he was just the regular Joe. He's the regular guy. He's just here to have conversations about cool, interesting things. As I think he did feel a lot of pushback, especially when he had Donald Trump as one of his guests, while, of course, the podcast with Kamala Harris, of course, never worked out. I think there's something to say about Joe Rogan potentially wanting to take a step back and not be as political, especially seeing how just violent everything politically has become, as he has said that what has happened to Charlie Kirk has definitely opened up his eyes to the reality of evil all around this. I call it demons. There's demonic possessions. It's real, and it's extremely serious. It's something that I think has captivated, hijacked, and taken over a larger swath of society than a lot of people even want to realize. And that's the kind of, what? Wait, hold on. What? Really? Yeah. And it gets far worse, especially when you see even me in my own personal timeline, old friends that just lean a little bit to the left that are like, yeah, blood, yeah. Okay, I'm being a little facetious, but essentially, right? Essentially, as regular people, as Joe Rogan points out, we're celebrating this insanity. And then he goes into quantifying this problem very well and succinctly.
that are willing to do things to people that are just entirely evil for profit, for whatever justification they can come up with.
No value for human life.
None. And I think one of the problems with doctors, and my friend who's a doctor told me this, like, you just get numb when you see too many people die. He's like, it's a very dangerous state of mind.
Yeah, and I would say a lot of people are becoming more and more to tend to sociopathic tendencies. If you look at empathy, that's going down dramatically. I remember we were out and about, and I was talking to some of the people that were working at one of the high schools last night. I was like, how are the children? How are they doing? Are they cooked? And they're like, yeah, they're cooked. They just don't care about anything. They don't say sorry. They don't have any empathy. They're just, the younger they get, the more glued they are to the phones, right? Which is terrifying, especially since you could kind of see it. You could also sense it. And when it comes to just absolutely kind of egotistical, selfish behaviors that are being pedestalized, especially in this modern type of streaming culture of like, look at me, look how cool I am, look at the crazy things I'm doing. You're dealing with kind of inundation of AI, technocratic, I would say even artificial type of programming that is wiring kids' brain. And when you see the wiring of these kids' brains, it's wired in some very dangerous ways.
Because you just see someone, you're like, well, he's going to die. And then you go have a sandwich.
We're getting numb as a society of seeing people die.
Well, the Charlie Kirk thing fucking opened up my eyes.
Yeah.
I never expected so many people would celebrate that man's murder.
That is evil.
He literally said people are gonna, as soon as it happened, he was doing a show with Charlie Sheen. He was like, oh man, people are going to celebrate this. I mean, he kind of did. Joe Rogan's a lot smarter than a lot of people make him out to be. He knows a lot more than he lets on, but he does an incredible job allowing people to kind of be pulled along to a type of understanding that I think is the truth. Now, we'll get into that and a lot more. We're going to play the rest of this clip, especially the clip when he talks about the foreign kind of involvement here, which I think is more important than ever. Before we do that, we wanted to tell you about LukeUnfiltered.com really quickly, really succinctly. The link is down in the description below. 20 cents a day, $8 a month, one Starbucks yuppie drink. I've fallen for it. I did it. I'm traveling. I'm not on the road. I don't have my organic frickin' yuppie coffee, so I'm doing the other yuppie coffee. I don't have all my holistic health stuff. But I'm here on the road. I'm helping out Timcast. I'm doing the Timcast IRL show. I'm having a lot of fun doing that. If you want to support any of the work I do, lookunfiltered.com. You get to talk to me directly. As I'm doing the podcast with Tim, I'm in the live chat on Telegram just for members. I'm like, hey, members, fact check me. Give me some research. Tell me what to say. What do you want me to look into? What do you want me to interject with? Let's have a conversation. So far, no one's given me anything. But if you want to give me something, if you want to fact check me or help add to the conversation and make it more rich on the Timcast IRL show, or you just want to talk to me directly, or you want to talk to other like-minded individuals about regular things, this is the way to build a community here. We used to do in real life events. We used to do nature hikes. We used to do range days. We used to do walks around towns, and we used to go to restaurants just as members and people, and I was there all the time. Now we're going to do an online thing whenever I get back. I'm also going to Austin soon, so stay tuned for that and a lot more. LukeUnfiltered.com really means a lot when you guys sign up. Now, let's get back to everything that's going on here, because we still got to get into the foreign funding aspect of it, which is very, very important.
That's bizarre. It's just bizarre. Like normal people that I think they're good people, and they genuinely think that guy was a bad guy. And I don't think they're right, and I think they were indoctrinated. And I don't agree with everything that Charlie Kirk said or did.
I don't care if he was a bad guy or not.
He's not a bad guy.
I don't want to see him. I don't want to see anybody die.
First of all, he's fucking your age, right?
Yeah.
He's a young guy, right? And he would go around to college campuses and have arguments with people, or have discussions with people, have debates with people. Yep. But it infuriated people because they felt like this guy is going against the progress that was being made in society. But what he did not feel like was progress. Like it was a progressive agenda that was being pushed in most college campuses. It's a leftist, Marxist sort of agenda.
It's the Yuri Bezmenov type of program of taking over society and institutions and radicalizing people to the point where, and again, historically, this happens a lot. If you look at communistic regimes, this is what a lot of people forget. They kill a lot of people, right? Everyone always wants to talk about the funny mustache guy. Communism, this kind of centralized ideology, is the one more closely aligned with government democide. That's when the government just kills its people.
He didn't feel like that was the correct way to live, and he felt like he had arguments against it, and he wanted, and it was, it's a business too, right? Like he developed this big social media platform because of it, and I don't, like I said, I don't agree. I don't think some of the things he said he should have said, but the fact that people were cheering when he died, normal people, housewives, moms, like fucking people working at banks, people,
doctors, right? That's the scary, like medical professionals. There's one in New Jersey, by the way, that was celebrating, like, good, he deserved it. A nurse came out and was like, hey man, that's not cool. Like, the nurse got sent home. The nurse got in trouble. Then she of course went online and was like, there's doctors celebrating this and I'm the one getting in trouble for calling it out. And then, of course, the hospital eventually did the right common sense type of thing here. Goodness gracious, what is wrong with people?
Working at various industries, celebrating a man getting shot in front of his kids, in the front of the whole world.
That's
like,
evil.
What the fuck is wrong with us?
Yeah, that's evil. I don't know. I think it really made me feel extra weird too because it was an innocent man. I'll give some leniency, maybe they're doing a public execution of like a mass murderer or a child rapist, something like that.
Right.
But seeing an innocent man trying to have a conversation get shot in front of his kids, and people celebrate that, it made
that's the turning point, right? That is a moment. I said that unironically. That's the moment that set off a chain reaction right now, where a lot of people are kind of asking themselves, how in the hell did we get here? And not just that, I don't want to be here. And I think that's the main message from Joe Rogan. And I think that's why he's stepping away from this type of political zealotry that we kind of see here on both sides, but predominantly on the left, that is more aligned with the establishment orthodoxies and this type of violent rhetoric that they're willing to match with violent actions, right? As they're also the most mentally unstable, mentally and physically unhealthy people that are now being gaslit and radicalized, not just through social media, but through the corporate media, right? But through modern forms of entertainment, as these institutions, not just in the universities, not just through social media, not just through Hollywood, have been hijacked. And I think deliberately brought us to this place that we are at right now, which is extremely dangerous.
made me feel a certain way.
Yeah, it was not justice. But I think people are poisoned by social media. I really firmly believe that. I think social media has people completely twisted, and I think a lot of what has people completely twisted is not even organic. I think it's all on purpose, that you're being manipulated by foreign governments, by bot farms, and by various elements, either in our government or other governments. And they do it for their own agenda, for their own ends.
Our government or other governments, I think that's the key word here, is now the FBI is officially investigating how the, quote, militant armed queers group who have ties, potentially, to the Charlie Kirk suspect, might potentially have foreign funding, as some deleted post revealed here. Now, is it what foreign government are we talking about here? Russia, China, Ukraine, the one in the Middle East that we can't criticize because if you do, you get deported? That one? That guy? Right? Which one are we talking about here? But listen, what we're seeing here, and I think there's a reason. Because like, when we look at all of this, right, social media, right, who controls it? Who created it? Who built it? In-Q-Tel, CIA startup funds, a lot of very shady people. You look at the infrastructure that was built all around us. It's this kind of a prison planet style grid surveillance system that was purely developed originally by the military for military purposes. Now, intel agencies had their tentacles in all of them, and I believe still do. And as we just recently found out, even according to YouTube, even according to Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook, yeah, the government comes in and they just tell us what to do and we just do it. And that happens all the time. Not just the government, but more particularly the intel agencies, right? And the intel agencies help create these social media companies. They run these social media companies. You're telling me a foreign government with bots? Maybe. That's a possibility, but I think the most likely scenario is that this is an inside job, right? But are there other foreign entities that are trying to stifle and create division within America? Yeah, 110%. Absolutely. There's no denying that there are, especially a lot of leftist liberal types, that are financed. Listen, that one country in the Middle East you can't criticize gives out a lot of money with their kind of lobbying groups. Qatar gives out a lot of money also with their lobbying groups, right? There's lobbying on top of lobbying. There's the Turkish lobby. There's the Chinese lobby. There's all these lobbies everywhere. You would think that they wouldn't have some of that money, especially through some of the billionaire classes, just fall on through to some of these organizations, some of these groups. As Michael Flynn has a very interesting post here saying, George Soros is funding global terrorist operations. Since 2016, his Open Society Foundation, and again, this is the guy that put in all the woke district attorneys that allow criminals to run free and do whatever the hell they want, poured over $80 million into groups tied with, quote, alleged terrorism and violent extremism, according to Michael Flynn. The evidence, quote, is stark, says Michael Flynn. Open Society has sent millions of dollars into U.S.-based organizations that engage in direct actions that the FBI defines as domestic terrorism. These groups include the Center for Third World Organizing and its militant partner, Ruckus Society, which train activists in property destruction and sabotage during the 2020 riots, and the Sunrise Movement, which endorsed the Antifa-linked Stop Cop City campaign, in which activists currently face over 40 domestic terrorism charges and 60 racketeering indictments. At the same time, Open Society awarded $18 million to the Movement for Black Lives. I mean, the organizers of that group just bought themselves some luxury houses and mansions in LA and California. A group that co-authored a radical guide that glorifies Hamas, October 7th massacres, and instructs activists in the use of false IDs, blockades, and economic disruptions. Arrest, indict, imprison. Now, will that actually happen here? We're seeing some actual movement. But now we have Ted Cruz coming out here saying Antifa isn't organic. It's paid for by Qatar, Iran, China. Listen, I would say if they have any ties, it probably would be to all the agent provocateurs. I mean, Antifa, when we look at them as an organization, they always support the current thing. People are protesting masks, they go and beat up the people protesting the masks. People are protesting lockdowns, they go and beat up the people protesting the lockdowns. People are talking about medical freedom, talking about health alternatives, taking care of themselves. They show up there. Yesterday, we had a guest on the Jim Crow show. He was like, I was doing a health event. And then Antifa showed up and they started threatening and attacking and harassing the speakers, right? They're there trying to make you healthy. They're the battering ram of, I would say, the CIA, if anything. Now, it's very convenient for Ted Cruz, who clearly takes money from special interest groups on the other side, to say, yeah, all of my political enemies and the enemies of the people who pay me, Qatar, Iran, yeah, they're responsible. Now, listen, there might be a chance that this is true, but it's also very convenient for him that he's saying this in the way that he is. As, listen, there needs to be an investigation, clearly, to what happened, how we got put to where we are. And I think at the end of the investigation, when we see, oh, who radicalized who? Oh, it's a social media. Oh, I think all the chickens are going to come home to roost at the CIA in Langley. Okay? That's just my opinion. That's my perspective, because that's the more logical type of understanding of it, right? Especially when it comes to running psyops, running disinformation campaigns, and just manipulating people emotionally.
But I'll tell you this, Antifa is a terrorist organization. They have been a terrorist organization for years. I have been calling on the Trump administration, the first Trump administration, to designate them as a terrorist organization. President Trump has now done so, and I appreciate that. It's the right thing to do. And here's the critical piece. Antifa doesn't rise up organically. It is paid for, and here's what we must do. follow the money. How much of Antifa is paid for by Qatar? How much of it is paid for by Iran? How much of it is paid for by communist China? And how much of it is paid for by left-wing billionaires like George Soros and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, who also are massive donors to Democrats? Part of
And big connected individuals to intel agencies.
the reason why the Biden administration and every Democrat in Congress turns a blind eye to the violence and terrorism of Antifa is the same people writing the checks are writing the checks and funding their campaigns. But
Yep. Listen, he's not wrong in some instances. And he's kind of asking the question. Let's do the investigations. Let's find out what in the world actually is going on here. Now, again, listen. When we look at low-level players, I think we're going to find something, right? I'll just be honest. Now, I think the bigger players, the bigger issue, I think that is meant to be hidden, and I think that's going to be hidden for you forever. That's just my perspective. If you agree, share this video, and maybe get it out there just to get the message out there. And if you appreciate me doing what I'm doing, as I've been doing it for 20 years, this is a pure way to really support me, and it really means a lot to me. I can't thank you guys enough for doing that. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys checking out and signing up to lookunfiltered.com, and this is why I always try to say, I love you guys. Stay tuned for more. All here exclusively on youtube.com/weare.